Good morning, English one. It is Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday. Ugh, what day is it? Nobody knows. It is Tuesday, May 26th. How are you? You guys, this is not how I wanted to end the school year with you. So real quick, congratulations to Michelle, Luis, Ivan, Taiwan, Stephanie, Erlanda, Evelyn, Perla, Eric Garcia, Isaias, Mike, and Muhammad. You guys have all finished your books recently. Super proud of you guys for reading those books. I hope that you enjoyed them. Please make sure you turn them back in. I want my books back. All right. So let's finish with this, the great conversation. Over the course of the year, we've read some poems. We started with some poems at the beginning of the year, way back in August when we first met. And then we've read a couple of short stories. We did Of Mice and Men. More recently, we did Romeo and Juliet. And you just recently finished There Will Come Soft Rains, the short story, and By the Waters of Babylon. And then you watched the movie To Kill a Mockingbird. And here's what I want to leave you guys with. Here is my final lecture, my final lesson. We're going to return to this idea of the great conversation. So I'm just going to flip over here real quick. And this is what we started the year with. And we looked at it throughout the year a little bit. And we started with the big question is, what is my purpose? You as a person, what is your purpose in this life? Over the last couple of weeks, we've done some writing assignments. We wrote about love and friendship and compassion and patience. Those are all really good qualities that I think we all admire when people do them well. But so literature, okay? I mean, this is what every English teacher has to struggle with, right? Like students go, oh, why do I have to read this? And English teachers go, 'cause it's good for you. And this is the struggle for all time, and I get it. But what I want to draw your attention to, more importantly than Romeo and Juliet, as important as I think it is, this idea of what is your purpose as a learner, as a reader, as a student, as a person, as a neighbor, as a brother, sister, friend, someday husband and wife and mother and father, and all those good and wonderful relationships we share in this world. Why do I want you to be a reader? And it's because I believe that we are all participating in this great conversation. We all have a part in it. And it's our job to figure out what that is. When we think about these things, like what is a man, mankind, a person, and what makes a good person? What is love and what's a good love? Because we've got examples of bad love and love that is not really love, and we confuse ourselves into thinking it's love. Death and a good death. Government and a good government. These are all the big questions we started off with at the beginning of the year. Why are we here on earth and what does it mean to be human? So real quickly, I just kind of want to think about how these questions might apply to some of the stories we've read, because then I want you to take these ideas and apply them to every story that you read. Whoever your teacher is next year, whatever stories you read as sophomores and then juniors and then seniors and then college students and then beyond, think about how they have greater meaning. Look, I love reading, and I know a lot of people don't love reading, but I really, really, really believe that even if you are completely scientifically and mathematically minded, that's great, but explore literature as well. For the rest of your lives, I want you to be readers, because readers are thinkers, and thinkers have so much potential and usually joy and excitement and fullness in their lives. And I believe that reading will always lead you to an ultimate truth. So, all right, what is man? What is a good man? Of Mice and Men. Was George a good man? I mean, he killed his best friend, right? Did he show grace and mercy in that action? Think about Romeo and Juliet. Were Mr. Montague and Mr. Capulet good men? At the end, they shook hands. At the end, they said, we will be friends forever. So did they change? Did they become good men? Because I would say they probably weren't good men before that. How about Mercutio, who stood up for his friend Romeo and died in the process? How about Tybalt, who was angry the whole time? Is he a good man? Is he defending his family's name? Does that make him a good man? Not always worried about the answers, but the questions are fun to think about. Love. What is good love? Did George love Lenny? I would say yes. Did Lenny love George? Absolutely. Was it a good love? How about Romeo and Juliet? Very different. Very different kind of love. Did Romeo and Juliet really love each other? They died for each other. Is that true love? Is that the kind of love you want? If you had to choose George and Lenny or Romeo and Juliet and the type of love they experienced, which love would you want? Think about There Will Come Soft Rains. Was there any love in that story? I'm going to say no. It was a robotic house that gets destroyed in the end. What happens when there's no people on this planet? There's no love. And if there's no love, what's the point? Right? To Kill a Mockingbird. I know we only watched the movie, but you get some of the senses there. You get Scout and Jem and Dill, and they're cute. And they're friendly with each other. Atticus, is he a good dad? Sure seemed like Scout and Jem really loved Atticus a whole bunch. How about Tom Robinson? Was he a good man? I would say yes, he was a good man. What about Mayella Ewell? Was she a good person? Or Bob Ewell? Are they good people? Seems that maybe Bob loved his daughter, Mayella, but in a wrong way. And it corrupted and ruined her life. And in turn, she ruins Tom Robinson's life. And when love is corrupted and broken, it actually destroys. Did Romeo and Juliet have a good, true love? Or was it corrupted and led to destruction? How about death? Did Lenny have a good death? Do you want to die thinking about your happiest moments with the people you love around you? That's what he got. Was it a good death? I don't know, though. Romeo and Juliet, did they have a good death? I would say no, and that's why it's a tragedy. Title is The Tragedy of Romeo and Juliet. It's actually the excellent and lamentable tragedy, but There Will Come Soft Rains. The house died, the robot died. Actually, the robot didn't really die, because even at the end, it kind of goes, August 27th, right? Kind of. So did the robot die? I don't know. But does death matter to a home? And how are we as readers to interpret that? I would say if you look at the destruction of the home, you look at the last thing destroyed because everything else was already destroyed. That sort of nuclear holocaust that happened and destroyed everything. Is that a good death? A sad death? Should we be brokenhearted over that? And government. We didn't actually deal a whole lot of government in these stories. We saw in Of Mice and Men, the Curly and his posse, they were taking the government into their own hands to hunt Lenny down and kill Lenny. But we don't see a lot of government. In Romeo and Juliet, we say the prince, and the prince makes these decisions, and he says, if anyone fights again, they will be put to death. And then he banishes Romeo. Was that a good government? Did maybe the prince make some mistakes that if he had done things differently? I don't know. Many stories that you'll read in the coming years do a lot more with government. I think Lord of the Flies is one you'll probably read. And Brave New World, or perhaps 1984. Those have a lot to do with government. So, you guys, in a time when we are locked down and cut off from our friends and our teachers and our students whom we enjoy and genuinely like seeing, because I genuinely like seeing you all, these stories help us to connect to these big ideas. That's my big thing. You've heard me say it 100 times this year, right? This big conversation. How can we as readers interact with these ideas? How can these ideas help to form our better selves? That's what I want you to think about. As you leave my class, I want to encourage you to be readers. And I want to encourage you to seek out bigger ideas than yourselves, because you are super important. But you are also one person out of 7 billion people on this planet. So while you are super valuable and loved by your family members and your friends, and I value you as a person, you're also insignificant and unimportant to most people. How do you explore this huge world, this vast world? Well, through stories. All right. So hopefully that kind of, brings it all back around for you as we finish up. So tomorrow, our final exam is in the morning, starting at 8. And I'm going to post a Google Meets like this. And I would love for you to join me. In fact, I'm asking you, please plan on joining me tomorrow morning. If for nothing else, just say a quick hello. Okay? So tomorrow, plan at 8 o'clock to join me at Google Meets and say hello. And then beyond that, I'm going to be posting the questions today and tomorrow. What do you think worked well for you in this shutdown time? And what was the worst part of your academics? So I have no idea what next year is going to look like. It looks like we might get shut down still. I don't know. But help me reflect. What worked best for you? What assignments worked best for you? What communication worked best for you? What should I have done differently? Where can I improve? How can I do better next year? Okay, please be friendly. All right. But you guys, no one wanted to end the school year like this. But I appreciate all of you who did so much work to keep up with your assignments. Those of you that had trouble, I know it's been really hard last quarter, and it's been a struggle for so many people, and I'm sorry that we had to go through this. So let's end on a happy note. All right. You are done with English 1 for the school year. I sincerely hope that you learned some stuff in my class. I hope the stuff that I gave you was valuable to you. I hope the stories were interesting and enjoyable. It seems like, for the most part, from the feedback I got, you all enjoyed it, which makes me happy. But so, all right. And then if we do come back next year, come back and say hi. I'll be in room 36, and I would love to see you and connect with you again. So, all right, you guys. Goodbye, English 1. Hopefully you pop in tomorrow and say hello on the Google Meets. All right. Take care. Bye.